For more on the dialogue, we're now joined by Secretary General of Walter Sisulu University Alumni and Convocation, and his name is Misheck Mugabe, and he joins us now via a video link. Misheck, thank you so much for your time this evening here in SABC News. I mean, just looking at that and the dialogue which was held today, of course, one would ask, would you say that the dialogue that was held and the discussions that were held surrounding student debt was fruitful?
Yeah, good evening, Bali, and good evening to the viewers of SABC. Thank you for having me. I hope you are also good on your side. The dialogue was very successful. I tell you, the reason why I'm saying it was very successful because we needed to put, convocations of various universities together under one roof and say, let's have a conversation about this matter. And what is the real problem? The real problem is that students, when they graduate, they are not able to get their certificates because they are having debts. Now, you will not be able to compete in the labor market because you don't have qualifications to show, even though you are a graduate, because the university would withhold your qualification whilst the employers are saying, show us your qualification. That is the predicament that we are currently faced with. Another problem that we have is that some students who are still within the system are not able to register for the following year because they are told to clear their debt. So we're saying this is a big issue. The student debt at national level is at 16 billion, and therefore we said as Walter Sisulu University Convocation, it's not going to help to discuss this thing alone. We need all the universities to be under one roof. So Plateau University was present, TUT Convocation was present, UWC Convocation was present, and many other convocations. And the discussions, to be honest, were intellectually stimulating conversations. Key issues were raised, including the fact that how do we address this issue? And part of what has been raised is that we need a multi-stakeholder approach to address this question of debt. One of it is that we need to elevate the discussion at national level so that all the role players must play a role. And I would want to say, Mbali, the question of the role of private sector in addressing and funding of education has been raised sharply to say, what is the role of the private sector? They make huge profits, but some of them don't play a role in terms of corporate social responsibility. So those are some of the issues that came from the dialogue.
Yeah, and looking at some of the contributing factors, I mean, something that is highlighted is, of course, the issue around a poor economic growth. And would you say that that is actually the main problem facing, the rising debt levels for students?
What I would say is that the current, graduate debt that we have is as a result of two main or three main issues. The first one is that the student accommodation costs, especially private accommodation, are so exorbitant such that they end up leading students to have a huge debt. In some situations, in some cities, students pay up to 5,000 per month just for student accommodation. That will contribute to a huge debt. That's why you see some students end up owing more than 100,000. The second issue is that in the past, before the year 2017, NSFAS was a loan, meaning that you have to pay back this money after you have graduated, and therefore ordinarily you end up having a debt. But after 2018, NSFAS is now a bursary, and therefore those who came after 2018, they've got less or no debt than those who came before the year 2017 when NSFAS was transformed. So therefore I'm saying these are some of the causes of this debt. But what we are saying is that the government can play a huge role. In fact, at Walter Sisulu University, the Premier of the Eastern Cape, Oscar Mabuyane, contributed 20 million towards this fund that we have launched as the Convocation of Walter Sisulu University. That is a huge, intervention because it has assisted more than 2,000 students to get their certificates who ordinarily would not have gotten their certificates, but because of the money we received from the Premier, the Premier always put money to Walter Sisulu University, but We are also saying the sitters, they were coming on board, some private individuals were coming on board, the service providers, and many other people. And therefore, even the graduates, some of our graduates who are now successful, in their careers, we are saying they need to play a role and contribute to this graduate debt fund so that we are able to confront and resolve this issue.
And what were some of the solutions in which were explored and which can actually address this issue almost immediately when it comes to trying to help, these more than 500,000 students with debt?
Yeah, the first one is that we've got to have a serious crowdfunding where people play a role through alumni endowments and many other interventions. But number two, we need the private sector to come on board. I've already spoken on this point. But number three, we are saying that all the university convocations, can they write letters, to the leadership at national level to say, can the new president coming on the 7th term, provide what is called an amnesty on this issue of debts so that the students are able at least to be free from these debts and start from a clean slate. But those are some of the initiatives, including the fact that we are proposing from this dialogue that there must be a national structure of all the university convocations, because if you check vice chancellors, they've got their own national structure organized under USAF. If you check the SRCs, they've got their own national structure under, SAUS. But if you check even unions, they are also organized at national level, including council chairpersons. But convocations are not organized at national level, and therefore we are saying they've got to be a national structure, a national forum that is more organized and be able to channel this discussion and elevate these issues to ensure that everyone in society play a role and participate to resolve this question.
Writing off some of the debt for these students, because you are saying that it's even preventing them from even being employed, in the best interests for the students, is that not a solution? What are the implications of just writing off student debt?
Yeah, writing off student debt is the best solution because it's going to be able to open up for them to participate in the labor market, get employment, and some of them, when they get employment, they might be able to, at a later stage, play a role even in uplifting other students that will come after them. But we're also saying that when we write off this debt, of course, someone will have to pay these institutions on behalf of the students. So it's not generally just write off on a blank check, but we are saying if the government can provide 16 billion, to universities, then universities are able to have a relief and give students the certificates that they deserve. Those are some of the discussions we are having. And we are saying once a debt is written off, I can tell you now, a lot of students will be able to change their livelihoods because economically, when you come, for example, from poor and working class background, they are looking up to you to change the situation at home. But now they start to ask questions. It has been 2 years you have graduated, you are not working because your certificate has been withheld by an institution. But once you get your certificate, you are able to change the situation at home. You are able to get opportunities, a lot of other opportunities, and rise that comes with the qualification. So we are saying that will be a great initiative if this graduate debt is written off.
All right, Misheck, thank you so much for your time this evening and for your contributions on the show. That is Misheck Mugabe, Secretary General of the Walter Sisulu University Alumni.